Well, good evening and welcome to Purpose Point. Super excited to be with you, Dr. J. Calvin Tibbs. You know, every Wednesday when we get together, there is something that is on the docket, something that is important, something that you just have got to get. And why? Because you are important. You are connected to so many other people, what they go through, how you work through it, how you help them work through it, how you decode what you're going through for a higher purpose, or how you succumb to the issues that go on in life and become a product of your environment. That is not our goal. That's the reason why we get together every Wednesday. Why? Because our goal is to strengthen the saved, love on the lost, show you how to live life through a love lens so that you can achieve a greater life in God. I want to say hello to everybody, and we're just going to dive in and go today. And I really want you to grasp what we're working on, what we're doing, because this is for you. It's so that the better version of you can emerge. And when that happens, everybody is made better. We often have begun to tell folks who tune in, as well as the live congregation of people, that you're here for three reasons, basically: design, direction, and development. You have a design. You are a certain person, and you are looking for direction to make that design really come alive. And then thirdly, you're looking for direction, or specifically looking for development to help make sure you're going in the right direction. See, if you're developing, I know the Olympics are going on right now at the time of this recording. When you look at the shot putters and the basketball players and the swimmers and the synchronized swimmers, their very body tells you a lot about what they're here for. The people who lift the big weights, much larger than those very thin, small, 8-pack divers. But if you go over to the gymnastics area, a lot of them are tightly wound together because their body is revealing their design. And so it is with you. Not that your body is as tuned as that. I'm looking forward to mine being as tuned again, but you know, you don't get that way eating Twinkies, right? You get that way by work, right? You get what I'm saying, though. Your purpose is aligned inside of your body. And so you look a certain way when you are doing the thing that you are designed for. And so that's what we are here to do on Wednesday nights, to give you very practical teachings that you can use. What we say is tools that you can use, which means you got to use them. You just can't say, Pastor, that was good. Thank you. Go to work, right? Here's where we're going to be tonight. This is what our focus is on: how to interpret patterns, because there are patterns that we all have. I've shared with you on occasion that there is information out there that indicates that the vast majority of what we think is negative. I mean, just automatic. It is negative. And number two, the vast majority of what most of us think came from yesterday. So if 85% of your stuff, your thoughts are from yesterday, and 95% of those thoughts are negative, it's no wonder that people think it's a jungle trying to make it over. You know that Curtis Blow song, it's like a jungle. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes you wonder. It shouldn't, but it does sometimes. How you keep from going under. Ha, 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 ha. I'm trying not to lose my head. I forgot the rest. But anyway, it was way back in the 70s, 80s, I think it was, when that came out. Great song, but the point of that song is the jungle is the environment. It's Egypt. It's the world. It's darkness, right? We live in darkness. We live in a place that has to be lit. That's why when Jesus came along and said, you are the light of the world. You are a city set upon a hill. Why is that important to even discuss? Because there's darkness in the environment. And if darkness continues or persists, then the light gets snuffed out. And that's a problem. And the only way for that to work is for your light to be put under a bushel, under a table. And there is a parable that says, nobody does that. You light a lamp or a light to be set in a position for all to see. People in the valley, people on mountains, hills, people on the same plane as you. You, my friend, are a light. And you were not designed to take the bad things that occurred and the issues that go on in life and just bury yourself underneath the barrage of the Egyptian way of living. And I'm not talking about the culture. there. I'm talking about the concept metaphorically. You were designed to shine. In fact, I love somebody who said the other day, your dream needs some steam. The steam that comes off of your dream should find you on the move. You might hit some things and have to slow down or start all over, but in the end, there's some steam to your dream, and you got to keep that thing moving. And the reason you have to keep it moving is because of you. Your victory is on the other side of that. Your family gets the benefit, your friends get the benefit, and people you do not even know. And so our desire is to make sure you go higher by giving you tools you can use. So let's look at this again. How do you interpret patterns? I've been recently in conversations with people who, when they go through obstacles, there seems to be a second one followed by a fifth, followed by a ninth. And by that time, all they can think about is how hard it is to keep going. They're not even concerned about the fact that someone just gave them an answer, because they are rich, if you will, in the experience of how bitter that thing was. Now, I'm not trying to take that from you nor from the person. I'm just saying, as I saw this happening in a class, it was difficult for the individual with the help to get the person's attention who needed the help, because the pattern hadn't yet been interrupted. They were so used to losing or so used to struggling that by the time something good came along, the pattern that was already in place was of a negative sort. Now, you got to recognize the negative patterns that are inside of you. I mean, Cleveland, in football terms, was a great team years ago, before most of us were born. Then they went through many, many years, decades, where they weren't a winning team at all. So now they're looked upon as, well, during that time, they were considered the armpit by some people of the NFL. You don't want to go to Cleveland because it stinks, meaning there is no winning there. So it is when it comes down to the winning culture. You go to New England, they say they count the blades of grass. So meticulous is the detail. Different environment. You don't have to stay as the armpit, and the fact that you're cutting grass is great. But my point that I'm trying to put together is you have to be a contributor, a part of the construction team, to change the pattern, whatever it is, in order to get to your next level. Because check this out. If you know you're at the bottom, you know that change is necessary. And we're going to talk about how to get that done, to interrupt the pattern of the current level. But even when you move to your next level, there still comes a point that that pattern has got to be interrupted. And you've got to go to the next level. And no matter how good that is compared to this level, there are still levels beyond that level. And the pattern that got you here must be interrupted in order to get you there. You see the process, right? It just continues, glory to glory, one level of faith to another level of faith. And honestly, that's why I like the Olympics, because it's achievement, pattern breaking on top of pattern breaking. In fact, I think it was one of the swimming events where in the preliminaries, they were on a world record pace. In the preliminaries, they hadn't even gotten to the race for the goal. But what occurred? The level that was set by whomever it was that set the Olympic record years ago was interrupted by a new regiment, a new group, a new person. And I want to encourage you, especially during this time where the world's best are gathering in Tokyo, to look at it and glean from that. I mean, glean from their specific, exclusive time spent on the thing that they are designed for, and how wonderful it looks to achieve that. And also how dedicated you have to be just to even get there. Like some countries, they just, for the first time, I think it was a lady from the Philippines, their first gold medal in the history of that country's attendance and activity in the Olympics. Never got a gold medal until a lady did it. Powerlifting. Don't tell me God won't come up with something that you never heard of and do it through you. Don't tell me that because no one's done it, you can't do it. Watch the Olympics and get some encouragement. And then some things you expect to occur don't occur, like the men's basketball team. I mean, after all, basketball is from America. Got our butts kicked by the French. And I know they were NBA players like us, but We told folks like Trey Young, we got enough firepower. Not. I ain't mad at your choices. Whatever went on, I'm just simply saying we can learn from all of those environments so that our pattern can get interrupted. And that's very important in order for you to get to your next level. Enjoy where you are if you like it. But at some point, the pattern of that level of success must be interrupted in order to give you a new pattern. So how do we get to that point? Well, I gave you a simple answer there, and it says that no plus what equals a new pattern. No plus what equals a new pattern. This is how it basically goes. Check it. We all analyze our world from our lens, which is created based upon how you view the world. How you view the world has major components to it. The very simple parts of it is, I'm going to say, the hidden assets inside of you are always looking at the world through some kind of view. Say that again. The hidden assets inside of you view the world based upon what's inside of you. Okay, so those hidden assets are creating responses from your mind. That's where the processing takes place. Through your will. That's a whole another other. Through your memory. Through your imagination. What should it be? Through your emotions. How do you feel about that? So when you put those three things together, how you understand or interpret, I'll just say, the world around you is very customized. Now, what we want to do is create patterns that are predictably superior than the ones we used to do, because most of us wake up with yesterday's thoughts. Most of those thoughts were negative. And if we're not careful, it becomes the same old on automatic because we live in a fallen world. So in order to break that pattern, we have to interrupt, and that no is the first level of it. And so it goes something like, remember, and I love to use the scripture because it's logotherapy, right? The logos, it's the written word. It's right there in the verse that Jesus was opposed by Satan. And Jesus said, no. First pattern interrupt. Satan had it going. Jesus said, no. How did the no come out? By what he then said was written. That's your what. In other words, if you agree with the thoughts of your past, if you agree with the thoughts from, as Gary Keesee calls it, the earth curse system, if you agree with the methods of how things get done because everybody's doing it, if you agree with that, you just gave the pattern a yes. You give the pattern a yes, then there is no interruption in the pattern. There will be no change. But when you say no to where you are, like even eating habits, some of you perhaps need some new ones, some different ones, some better ones. In order for the new to come, the current has got to be told no. No more eating 4 and 12 pieces of whatever. No more eating at this time of night. No more. You got to say no. You have got to say no internally. When you say no, the pattern gets interrupted. And guess what it's waiting for? The next instruction. I tell you, I've seen people, I know a person personally who lived in South Africa. And years ago, he was being stormed or charged by, I don't know, a 15-foot bull elephant, tusks in tow. He was going to be killed and mauled and then probably eaten by who knows what. But suddenly there rose up in him, no! And when he did, that elephant came to a halt and walked off. See, no works. No works because no is a declaration. And when you say to yourself, we're not doing that anymore. We're not going from bad relationship to bad relationship. We are not going from one level of depression to another level. No, not doing it. When you say that and you believe that, the declaration is out. The pattern is interrupted. And now the new pattern is waiting for instructions. And that's your what? Jesus, in his context, said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. The next one was, or the last one was, dealing with worship. Don't tempt the Lord was the second one. You put that all together, you're now creating the narrative for the course. This is another way to say course correct and narrative protect. When you protect the narrative, you'll protect the course. If the narrative is not protected, the pattern is not interrupted. I hope you see that. You got to be this way with anything you're trying to do to create a new thing that is opposed by failure, time, busy, scattered, whatever that is. You got to say, no, this is what we're doing. The new pattern is waiting. That's the way you get this done. All right, let's move on to this next part. And I hope you're getting this. I will jump over there and see how you're doing, but I need to keep moving to the next one. Because ultimately, when you analyze why you are in the pattern that you're in, you have to start every analysis according to Viktor Frankl. And Viktor Frankl is a leading Harvard authority long before he went to Harvard, because he was a Holocaust survivor. His wife got killed. His parents got killed. His family got killed. He found himself alive, and he had to discover meaning. At the time, the clinical psychologists of the world had a completely different methodology about why people do what they do. When the Holocaust survivor, Viktor Frankl, got free in America and then began to talk about the process of change, he said, essentially, every problem must be analyzed starting with meaning. Go back. Your pattern that needs to be interrupted for your next level to break through, it has to be analyzed through the lens of what does it mean? See, we are meaning-making machines. Our mind makes meaning on automatic. I'll hear all those M's in there. Ma. We are designed, ladies and gentlemen, to make meaning. And here's the challenge. If you do not make meaning, you will keep the problem. All right. On Sunday, I shared with our congregation that my tooth was hurting, and it was. It was not the tooth I thought, which is a whole other reality check. That sometimes we think it's this and it's really something else. Sometimes we think the problem is money when the real problem is vision. And you can go down the list and pull those things out. I'm trying to convey that when I put it all together, I made meaning out of what that little infection was that the dentist found. It meant to me that it wasn't just a very small, literally fingernail size issue. It was a deeper issue because it meant something to me to get to the bottom of, why is my tooth hurting? So if in the natural, the teeth, which are located in your mouth, which help you digest things, what you then say out of your mouth is the energy that came in that was digested. I know. Put all that together. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Okay? So if in my thinking, there are things that are minor, even to the point that I don't notice them, minor to the point that others don't notice them, minor, but it requires an x-ray to be seen, to me, that's spirit realm stuff. So I'm like, what is going on? And so I began to contemplate, and I didn't have an answer at the time of the message. After the message, I began to get what the Lord was saying to me, minuscule, because I had to find the meaning. You got to find the meaning for why you keep finding yourself at this point, whatever this point is. What's the meaning? And don't go and leave it at God's trying to tell me something. He's always telling us something. What do I need to improve upon? Okay, because we got to break through to get to the next level. What do I need to improve upon to get there? So I ultimately, in a conversation, heard myself say, I need to vet the words that I speak. And when that hit, I was like, whoa, that's absolutely right. Because I generally, as a former military person and a man who just believes that the Bible says what it says and it means it, like, If you want to really be mature, you govern your tongue. So I don't go around talking about people. I don't go around, just flippantly saying crazy things, not generally, okay? But something must have been said enough times, in enough of a substantive way that it hit the radar, but not my awareness. Didn't hit the awareness of other people that I'm aware of, but it hit God's awareness. And since I say things to him like, I really just want to do what I'm here for. I want to do what you put me here for. And since I do mean that, and he means that, he's glad because he has a willing participant. Then at that point, he pointed out there's a small thing that happens. It's the intention, or better yet, it's the vetting of the words that you speak. You need, because God won't, his word already has vetted it. You need to vet the words or the thoughts that come to your mind before the words come out. And again, I thought I was doing that pretty good. I might have been compared to you or her or him or them, but not in accordance with my design, not in accordance with your design. And you really want that little thing taken care of down to the nth degree, if you can. And when I found that out, I was then having a conversation with someone else like 2 days later. And I then remembered that the Lord on one or two occasions had to tell me, don't say things in this vein to people or to this particular individual, basically because I say so. No arguing, no cursing, no crazy. But I knew you just need to relax. You need to chill. Because see, where I came from, everything was a competition. And I already told you all that, so I'm not going into it. So the competitive nature does not need to enter in unless it does. Basketball game, football game, whatever we're doing. But in general, especially for a person who knows their purpose, I knew I needed to hone that down. And so today in having that conversation, I realized I still hadn't gotten that memo, even though he told me that probably on 2 occasions, maybe 3. But I just thought, okay, just don't have it today. Do it tomorrow. Have the conversation later. And it just dawned on me that I was in a pattern that needed to be interrupted. And so it cost me the pain, brother, sister. And therefore, the analysis of the problem became, let me find out what the deal is here. And I'm telling you, as discovery continues, I now realize what I should have realized had I been paying attention, but I wasn't. Not at the level that was necessary. That now, as I put these things together, again, if you're going to interrupt the pattern, you got to say no. So I found myself like this a lot. And this is not with people per se, anybody or any group. I'm just saying he's talking to me. I don't know what he's saying to you that needs to interrupt the pattern. But for me, I got to say no. No to what? No to that thought that's not even necessary. It ain't even necessary. You don't have to be right on everything. You don't have to be whatever, or you don't. So knowing what equals a new pattern. The analysis of that was the pain caused me to look for the problem, which, here you go, made me look for the meaning. And so now I deduce, I reckon, I put together, I conclude that verse that says be slow to speak actually applies to moi. And again, I'm not I promise you I'm not. What you see is what you see. I mean, certain things get me more passionate than others, but I'm just saying, as a human who has this responsibility and that responsibility and that purpose connected to this group and to I have got to be what he needs me to be, and it requires me to look at the meaning of a thing. It requires the same of you, my brother and my sister. It requires the same thing of you. You got to look at it. You can't be certain places. You can't do certain things, and it has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with the relationship, again, Olympics. Think Olympics. They are not spending wasted time, I love you, at da-da-da-da-da. Nor at the other place, we've got the meats. They're not spending time there. Why? Because what comes into them does not mean anything good in relation to their physical training. It doesn't mean anything good. So they have to do what? Apply the principle. No plus what equals a pattern interrupt. No plus what equals a pattern interrupt. You got to be willing to do that. And if you go underneath it and find out what it really means to you, then those decisions will be made easier and easier and easier. Analyze the problem by looking for the meaning. This is the reason why I think her name is Ledecky. I think first name is Katie Ledecky. But anyway, had never lost. And her opponent, the Australian, I forgot her last name, Tidwick, I think, or something like that. You saw, if you didn't, you want to Google it, the response of her coach, who was going flat out crazy when she beat this perennial Olympian whose star power and dominance of the sport left her without rivals. But this guy who understood, here you go, the meaning, it meant something for her, the person, the swimmer that he was coaching, to help her analyze the training regimen that fit the output necessary to get the resolution that she wanted. She won the gold. She won the gold, and he went slam crazy. It was a great thing. It wasn't country against country. It was will against will. It was achievement against achievement. It's personal best. Remove all the others. It's what is your best. If you analyze you, why are you here? What do you even mean? You mean more than what perhaps you've demonstrated. We got to get that part out of you because you owe us what's inside of you. Well, look, I hope that helped you. I hope you are benefited by it, and it blessed me to share it with you. And I wanted to share with you also something big is coming this Sunday. You want to tune in at 10 and be a part of what's happening because something big is going on, and it does definitely include you. So if you have opportunity to be a blessing to the ministry, please go to kdchurch.org. There you're going to find all kinds of resources, and you'll be blessed by your giving. In addition to that, please know that none of this matters if you don't know the one who gave you your purpose, who gave you your life. John chapter 1 tells us that. Jesus, it's him. Yeah, surprise, surprise, it's him. He loves you enough to save you, to give you salvation, inspiration, and purpose. And my declaration over you is that you'll take advantage of that by asking him to come into your heart if you have not already. And if you have, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We want to fellowship with you. And part of that fellowship is connected to your texting us the word welcome to the number at the bottom of the screen, 770-308-8864. If you don't know Jesus, ask him to come into your heart. How do you do that? Like this: Jesus, come into my heart. Do you believe that? If you don't believe it, don't say it. If you do believe it, say it. Jesus, come into my heart. And when he comes in, sister, brother, he'll rearrange things. He'll change things. Because after saving you, now he'll send you. He'll prepare you. He'll put you inside of a family. And we want to be a part of that family. You see the number there, but this time you text the word life to the same number, 880 or 770-308-8864. And we will be more than happy to work with you, walk with you, and enjoy life with you as we do life together. So when we get together the next time, we'll let you know exactly what it is that is new, that's big, that's coming. This is a hint, right? That's a hint. You see that? But we'll talk about that in a minute. Talk about that on Sunday, actually. So in the meantime, I pray that every good thing that you desire will come your way. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. Lift up the light of his countenance upon you. And then may the Lord give you his peace, the type that surpasses all of your understanding, to guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.